Okay, in this video, I'll give you about 20 important pointers for self-evaluation of your TAT response. You can make your notes. Now you understand, if this is you are shown with a picture and this picture goes inside you, you do some internal processing and there are three questions asked: what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. In one of the previous videos, I told you that this is looking for your problem solving skill. And after 30 seconds, the picture from the outside is removed, but it is absorbed by you. And then there is an inner process which is called the mansa. And the quality of your inner thinking will determine the quality of your processing, and the process output is expressed in the form of your written psychological document. So 12 pictures are shown. Now this entire model works on the principle of stimulus response model, and I keep saying that between the stimulus and the response you have the freedom of choice, and we need to make this freedom of choice correct. Now this response is written at two levels. One is at the creation of the idea that is within you once the picture goes inside, and for the picture to go inside you should know how to observe the picture, which I've already conveyed you in the previous session. And once the idea is created, that is your mansa, it is expressed using language. So that's the written document that is now available to the psychologist, and the psychologist reads it and goes back to identify what happened within you when the stimulus was presented. So this we understand. Now what we will do is, I will give you a couple of indicators that you can apply in each time you write your response, and you can verify before you even write whether whatever is happening in your inner process is correct or not. Now those of you who wish to join the 2 weeks AFOSOP composite batch, the fresh 2 weeks offline batch starts every Monday at Pune, and if you wish to register, you can give us a call at 9090099035. There is a second number also, 77986471177, and we'll get back to you. 500% clarity guaranteed. So the first point is, have I observed the stimulus correctly? Now, if you don't observe the stimulus correctly, we have already seen this is the inputting of the stimulus, and this if itself gets corrupted, then the processing will not be correct, because processing के लिए input आँखों से जाता है. And we have already seen what all are the pointers that you have to observe. Next is, having observed once the picture goes inside, next question is, have I perceived the stimulus correctly? Many times the perception gets distorted because of multiple resources that you refer to, especially the internet and the coaching input. So you have to question yourself that, have I distorted the stimulus in any way due to whatever influence that I'm subjected to? It can be preconceived notion, it can be coach responses, it can be internet resources, because of which you are seeing something but you manipulate. If you're doing that, please stop it. Next is, once you observe the picture and perceive the picture and understand the situation, one question that you have to ask yourself is, what is the psychologist likely trying to check in you through this stimulus? ये situation क्या है, और इस situation को handle करने के process में मेरे अंदर क्या गुण psychologist देखने की कोशिश कर रहा होगा? And once you have understood the situation, another question that you can ask is, what character quality from whatever factor, whether it is intellectual factor, emotional dimension, value, clarity, what quality is required in me to handle the situation that I am perceiving, है ना. इस दिए हुए सिचुएशन को अगर मैंने हैंडल करना है तो मेरे अंदर किन गुणों के होने से मैं ये हैंडल कर सकता हूं, बिकॉज दैट्स अ गुण दैट हैज टू रिफ्लेक्ट थ्रू योर हीरोज एक्शन. नेक्स्ट इज having identified what is the situation. Next question is, if this is the situation, what led to the situation? That is identifying the cause behind that given situation. So have I assigned the right cause to the given situation? या इसमें कोई bias तो नहीं है, है ना. Have I given the cause myself, or I have put some preconceived notions into it कि ऐसे कर लो वैसे कर लो. क्या मैं सोच समझ के डाला है या किसी पहले से ही जो मेरे मन में पड़ा हुआ उसके थ्रू डाला हुआ है? जस्ट चेक इट. नेक्स्ट इज, हैव आई बीन एबल टू डिफाइन द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट क्लियरली और आई एम कंफ्यूज. क्योंकि अगर आपने प्रॉब्लम को डिफाइन ही नहीं किया तो सॉल्व क्या करोगे? सो दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, जिसे कि हम बोलते हैं व्हाट लेड टू दी सिचुएशन. इसे जरूर चेक कर लेना, बिकॉज इसे अगर आपने चेक नहीं किया तो मैनी टाइम्स क्लैरिटी से पता ही नहीं चलता कि व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन दैट यू डिसाइडेड टू हैंडल. वेग, जेनरिक, ऊपर ऊपर से लिखना. नो, प्लीज सी दैट हैव यू बीन एबल टू डिफाइन द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट क्लियरली, और आर यू कंफ्यूज्ड? इफ यू कंफ्यूज, you have to build up your thinking capability. Next is, based on the point number 4 above, what was the point number 4? That what is the problem, है ना, situation क्या है and what led to the situation. So based on the point number 4, was I clear or am I clear of the final outcome that I want to achieve after solving the problem? So having identified the problem, what is the outcome that you wish to achieve? And next comes, how will you achieve? What are the means adopted to achieve? So having decided what led to the situation, क्या आपके मन में क्लैरिटी है कि इस प्रॉब्लम का अंत कहाँ लेके जाना है? Because if you don't know where to go, you will end up going nowhere. So be careful. So what led to the situation is problem definition. What is the final outcome is the end of that problem that you wish to achieve, and what is currently happening is the means adopted to achieve that end. So be clear on that. Next is the goal that I wish to achieve, that is the final outcome. Is it relevant to this given situation or the stated situation by me as part of what led to the situation? Is it socially desirable? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि कर तो दिया, छुपाना पड़ रहा बिकॉज गंदा है, बिकॉज कैरेक्टर वीकनेस आ रहा है, बिकॉज इमोशनल ब्रेकडाउन हो रहा है. सो इज इट सोशली डिजायरेबल and is it relevant to the situation that is given or that has been created by you as part of what led to the situation? So your solution and the goal has to be aligned. So it cannot be something on tangent. ये तभी होगा जब आप कुछ प्री कंसीव स्टोरियाँ लेके आते हो तो वो भिड़ाना शुरू कर देते हो. डोंट नीड टू डू दैट. नेक्स्ट इज माई ऑप्शन सोशली एक्सेप्टेबल? जो मैं विकल्प ले रहा हूँ क्या वो सोशली एक्सेप्टेबल है या उसमें कैरेक्टर वीकनेस आ रहा है? जैसे इफ यू रिमेंबर डोंट नॉक द डोर राजा करके एक कहानी था, कैरेक्टर वीकनेस, है ना. इज इट एक्सेप्टेबल सोशली? Are they aligned with my values that I claim in the self description? मेरे self description जो मैंने अपने strength weakness और मेरे मम्मी पापा फ्रेंड्स क्या सोचते हैं, क्या उनकी सोच के साथ मेरे जो options aligned है या disaligned तो नहीं है? क्या इसके अंदर sufficient intellectual and emotional maturity दिखता है मेरे options में और मेरे decisions में? और जो भी मैं डिसीजन ले रहा हूँ, इज इट अप्रोप्रिएट टू द सिचुएशन दैट इज गिवन और द सिचुएशन दैट आई stated as part of what led to the situation. So your responses or your decision has to be appropriate. Only then you will be able to achieve the final outcome that is relevant to the situation that you made. So check that. Next is, are my thought pattern clear to myself? क्या मतलब है? इन कहानियों को पेन से लिखने से पहले क्या सोच के लेवल में मुझे अपनी सोच के ऊपर क्लैरिटी है? अगर नहीं है तो इसे ठीक करना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज इफ आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड माई सेल्फ, इफ आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड माई ओन डिसीजन, इफ आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ आई एम perceiving this picture, if I don't understand how I'm resolving the conflict within me, that means I am taking decisions in an autopilot mode and I'm not aware of what's happening within me. And once I am not aware what's happening within me, how will the psychologist understand what happens within me when he reads that dossier? He will not understand. So you understand yourself before the psychologist understands you. Many times you will realize that you're writing something to show that you have OLQs. In the process, you end up making fantasy stories, Amrendra Bahubali type, and there is a complete mismatch between what you're trying to convey and what the psychologists understand. There's a gap. This needs to be reduced. Next point is, have I been able to clearly define the end as thought in para 5 above? इसका मतलब क्या है? मेरे कहानी के अंत में स्टोरी को जब पढ़ते हो तो एक क्लियर कट फाइनल आउटकम दिखता है, या ऐसा लगता है कि कहानी शुरू तो कर दिया लेकिन एंड नहीं है. दैट मीन्स आपने कहानी को व्हाट इज करंटली हैपनिंग के प्रोसेस में उलझ गए, और कहानी पढ़ने से क्लैरिटी के साथ, स्पष्टता के साथ कहानी का एंड ना आना, इसको आपको ठीक करना पड़ेगा. सो दिस इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. सो प्लीज मेक श्योर द 3 distinct parts आर क्लियरली available. What led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome in terms of line, 1 or 2 lines for what led to the situation, 1 or 2 lines for what is the final outcome, and 7-8 lines for what is currently happening, which is the core portion of the story. But the core will only get corrected and aligned when you understand what is the problem, and the alignment has to be such that it reaches the determined goal, that is what is the final outcome. So please take care of all these things. Now next is my thought appearing logical to me? क्या मुझे मेरे ही विचार लॉजिकल लग रहे हैं या इलॉजिकल लग रहे हैं? अगर मुझे मेरे ही थॉट्स इलॉजिकल लग रहे हैं और मैं ही मैनिपुलेटेड लग रहा हूँ बिकॉज आई वांट टू शो OLQs और आई वांट टू स्प्रिंकल OLQs, देन डेफिनेटली दे विल नॉट बी कंसिस्टेंसी इन माई थिंकिंग. मेरे मानसा वाचा कर्मणा में कॉन्ग्रुएंस नहीं आएगा इफ यू डोंट फील देयर इज कॉन्ग्रुएंस इन योर वे ऑफ थिंकिंग. एंड because if your thoughts are not logical to myself, then how will consistency come your responses, and how will the consistency will be seen by the psychologist? So please make sure that in case if there are inconsistency, it needs to be corrected. So take care of that. Next is, have I expressed myself clearly? Now this is expressing yourself on the world outside using the pen, or maybe like मैं अभी बात कर रहा हूँ. When I'm talking, every word that I'm speaking, I first understand myself, and I have an intention that when you listen to me, you should understand me exactly the same way I want you to understand. In the same way, when you write / speak or / act in the SSB or in life, you must understand yourself first before you are understood by others. Because if you don't understand yourself, you will simply end up writing something which will absolutely make no sense to you, and it will not make any sense to the psychologist. And if psychologists cannot understand you, your chances of getting recommendation will become extremely low. So have I expressed myself clearly? What does it mean? Will the psychologist understand me the way I want him to understand me? That's the power of expression. भाषा एक माध्यम है अपने विचारों को व्यक्त करने के लिए. So make sure that your विचार are clear. Next is my handwriting legible / neat? SSB में हैंडराइटिंग एनालिसिस तो नहीं होता है, लेकिन अगर आपका हैंडराइटिंग इतना बुरा हो कि वो पढ़ने में नहीं आएगा, तो डेफिनेटली साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास 30 डोजर उनको करना होता है एक बैच में. He'll get pissed off and he'll put it on the side. So please make sure your handwriting is neat as much as possible and legible, and make sure there are no cuttings, because cuttings are evaluated. So if there are too many cuttings, it simply displays that there is a lot of confusion within you. So cuttings are evaluated. इसके ऊपर मैं already एक video बना चुका है. So if you have a tendency of making too many cuttings, please make sure you have to increase the clarity within you. Only then the cuttings outside will reduce. Next is, does my responses display my intellectual maturity, my ability to think logically, my ability to reason clearly, my ability to define the problem clearly and solve it clearly and organize the resources in such a manner that the selected option, that is the decision, is correctly implemented, feedback taken so that any course correction is done, mid course correction can be done, and finally you achieve the goal. This can only happen when there is adequate intellectual clarity, emotional clarity, and value clarity. Value clarity will ensure that your responses are aligned to the core qualities that the service selection board is looking in you. Otherwise, don't knock the door. राजा में जो है गोल तो अचीव किया उस बंदे का, लेकिन वैल्यू डेविएशन हो गया. So please make sure to ensure logical thinking, intellectual maturity, emotional maturity, and value clarity. And essentially, psychology is looking for your problem solving skill. So make sure this is ensured. So next is, are you able to resolve conflicts? In pictures, there will be conflict. For example, in the fourth picture, you can see there is a conflict happening. Clearly, there is a conflict happening. So how do you resolve these conflicts? So conflicts are many types. I've already made a video on this before. If required, we'll make it once again. So your conflict resolution skills, it should be such that your conflicts resolution should be such that your chosen option should take you to the aim and not away from the aim by keeping yourself in the comfort zone. When you remain in your comfort zone, definitely you're not able to resolve your conflict because your need to remain in the comfort zone is stronger than your need to move outside the comfort zone into the growth zone, thus achieve success. So please make sure that you learn the conflict resolution skill. Next is, are my social intelligence coming adequate? यानी कि इंटरपर्सनल स्किल, जो कि एसएसबी के फैक्टर 2 क्वालिटीज है. योर एबिलिटी टू एडजस्ट वेल विथ सुपीरियर्स, इक्वल्स एंड सबऑर्डिनेट. योर एबिलिटी टू एडजस्ट विथ opposite gender. Your ability to adjust with the characters within the story based on whatever role they are playing. So social intelligence is your ability to adjust well with people, understand others' emotion, empathy, ability to cooperate. Am I socially fitting well? आपके जो कैरेक्टर्स है, क्या वो सेल्फिशली काम कर रहे हैं या दे वर एबल टू फंक्शन एज ए पार्ट ऑफ ए टीम. सो एम आई सोशली फिटिंग वेल or coming as socially insensitive and selfish? When you make Amrendra Bahubali story, your stories don't fit. When you make stories, please make sure the social dimension is catered for. We have made couple of videos on this. Please watch that. Am I a team player? So जो आपके stories है, उसके characters team player है या individual players है? आप वास्तव में आपका लाइफ में कैसे हो? Are you able to function in team or you function as a individual? Check करना. Next, am I taking responsibility or denying responsibility? For your SSB training, are you taking responsibility for yourself or are you denying yourself? Check करो. If you're denying yourself, then there is a problem. So you don't have to deny it, you have to understand it, accept it and handle it. So take responsibility, including responsibility for your SSB preparation. Do not try to mask the gaps that you see. Similarly, in the stories also, you will find there are certain areas that needs your attention. Please pay attention and handle it rather than denying it. Denying को फिर defense mechanism में आ जाओगे. है ना? Do I accept the problem the way it is or do I dilute it? Dilute मतलब dead body दिया है, आपने उसे ड्रामा बना दिया. रो रही है, आपने उसे खुशी के आंसू बना दिया. दिस विल बी कैटास्ट्रॉफिक फॉर यू. है ना? प्लीज मेक श्योर. नेक्स्ट इज, इन लाइफ एम आई अ रिस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन? आर यू taking responsibility in terms of your SSB preparation? What actions are you taking to fill up your deficiencies? How will you answer to those deficiencies when they are spotted by the interviewing officer? If your communication skill is weak, if your stress handling is weak, if your stress resilience is weak, if your emotional understanding is weak, what actions are you taking to correct it? क्या जवाब दोगे? चेक करो. So, are you preparing for your SSB in a responsible manner, or are you preparing in a irresponsible manner? Next, in the name of be positive, am I manipulating my internal thought pattern? कि मुझे दिख रहा है डेड बॉडी है, लेकिन किसी ने मुझे बोल दिया कि ऑफिसर बनना है तो ड्रामा बना दो, एंड आई एम चेंजिंग द डेड बॉडी टू ड्रामा, not because my eyes are seeing it, not because my perception is wrong, because I am influenced by people who are involved in training. This is manipulation. आपके अंदर लो सेल्फ एस्टीम है, आपके अंदर सुसाइडल टेंडेंसी है, आपके अंदर लोगों के साथ उठने बैठने में झिझक है, लो कॉन्फिडेंस है, सुसाइडल टेंडेंसी है, बट आप उसे छुपा रहे हो बिकॉज समबडी हैज टोल्ड कि इफ़ यू हैव कोर क्वालिटी वीकनेस एंड सुसाइडल टेंडेंसी, हाइड इट. ऐसा कुछ तो नहीं कर रहे हो. अगर ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हो तो यू आर मैनिपुलेटिंग योर इंटरनल थॉट पैटर्न एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू शो समथिंग विच यू आर नॉट. बाहर से चमक रहा है दरवाज़ा, लेकिन अंदर दीमक लगा है और आप उस पर वार्निश चढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. उससे बात नहीं बनेगी, आपको पैनल चेंज करना पड़ेगा. समझ में आया तो क्या बताना. एंड अगर आप ऐसा कर रहे हो, इफ यस, व्हाट बिलीफ सिस्टम इज मेकिंग मी डू दिस? मेरा ऐसा क्या विश्वास है जिसके कारण मैं इस तरीके का सोच को रखता हूँ? इसे, उस विश्वास को चेंज करना है. जब आपका विश्वास चेंज होगा तो व्यवहार चेंज होगा. तो मुझे बताना क्या समझ में आया. सो किसने बोला इलाहाबाद इज़ अ रिजेक्शन सेंटर? मैं तो पोस्टेड था, वहाँ पे लोग सेलेक्ट होते थे. तो आपके बहुत सारे फॉल्टी बिलीफ सिस्टम्स हैं जिसके कारण इस तरह का बिहेवियर आ रहा है और मैनिपुलेशन हो रहा है. प्लीज़ करेक्ट इट. नेक्स्ट इज, अगर ऐसा है, हाउ विल यू करेक्ट इट? यू नो, आई विल पुट सर्टन मॉड्यूल्स ऑन यू थ्रू द सेल्फ मैनेजमेंट लीडरशिप के, जिससे थ्रू इसको करेक्शन किया जाता है, लॉजिकल करेक्शन. बट व्हाट इज़ योर अप्रोच टू डू इट? चेक करना. नेक्स्ट, I am trying to show off something. Am I trying to show off something that I am not? If yes, why I am doing that? मतलब इन TAT के कहानियों के थ्रू और हीरोज के एक्शन के थ्रू क्या मेरे मन में एक ये सोच तो नहीं है कि मैं अपने हीरो से ऐसा और वैसा सब कराऊंगा ताकि इसको देख के साइकोलॉजिस्ट इम्प्रेस हो जाएगा और साइकोलॉजिस्ट को लगेगा कि मेरे अंदर OLQ है, जबकि वास्तव में मेरे अंदर OLQ नहीं है, बिकॉज किसी ने बोला है स्प्रिंकल OLQ इवन इफ यू डोंट हैव. ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हो तो यू आर ट्राइंग टू शो ऑफ समथिंग विच यू डोंट हैव. मैनिपुलेशन कर रहे हो. अगर ऐसा कर रहे हो तो प्लीज़ करेक्ट इट, बिकॉज दिस विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज ए मास्क एंड मुखौटे के पीछे के इंसान को ढूंढ रहे हैं, ना कि मुखौटे को. सो आर यू यूजिंग ए मास्क टू मैनिपुलेट दी SSS? चेक करना है. अगर कर रहे हो तो इसे रोक देना. बाई रीडिंग योर रेस्पॉन्सेज, बाई रीडिंग माई रेस्पॉन्सेज मतलब योर रेस्पॉन्सेज, आपको क्या लगता है साइकोलॉजिस्ट आपके बारे में क्या सोचेगा? आपका ग्रामर, आपका इंग्लिश का क्वालिटी, आपका हैंड राइटिंग का क्वालिटी, आपकी सोच की क्वालिटी, आपके प्रॉब्लम डेफिनेशन, आपके प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, आपके गोल और आपके उसके अंदर का वैल्यू सिस्टम, इन सब को देख के साइकोलॉजिस्ट को क्या लगेगा कि आप एक पोटेंशियल कैंडिडेट हो या आप एक इंटेलेक्चुअली लो, पुअर लॉजिक एंड पुअर अंडरस्टैंडिंग वाले लड़के हो, लड़की हो. अगर सेकंड केस हो तो आप रेकमेंड नहीं होंगे. सो प्लीज़ मेक श्योर दैट यू ब्रिंग सर्टन डिग्री ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल क्लैरिटी, intellectual maturity, emotional maturity and value clarity both in your preparation and your performance, and definitely it will help. Second thing, the claims that you made in the self description in terms of what your parent think, what your friend think, teacher think, company commander, boss think, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and what qualities would you like to develop. Please make sure those qualities are claims made by you about yourself in the fourth test, that is self-description. But in the first test, when your hero oblique other characters operate in your stories, those qualities, since you have claimed you have it, they must be seen in action in your thoughts and reflected in your responses. अगर वो नहीं आ रहा तो आपने SD में बहुत अच्छा क्लेम किया है, लेकिन TAT में वो क्लेम्स एक्शन में नहीं दिख रहा. इट इज़ लाइक आपने TAT SD में तो बहुत अच्छा बोला कि मैं गन्ने की तरह मीठा हूँ, लेकिन यहाँ पे आप बम्बू हो जो शुगर कोटेड हो जाएगा, कौवा मोर बनने की कोशिश हो जाएगा। सो ऐसा ना हो कि SD मोर का हो और यहाँ पे कौवा बनो तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा। सो प्लीज़ मेक श्योर देयर इज़ एन अलाइनमेंट बिटवीन योर TAT के कैरेक्टर्स के रेस्पॉन्सेज एंड द सेल्फ डिस्क्रिप्शन। देयर इज़ अ वीडियो कॉन्ग्रुएंस बिटवीन TAT, WAT, SRT एंड SD असेसमेंट ऑफ प्रोजेक्टिव टेक्निक करके एक वीडियो, अगर नहीं मिल रहा तो यू कैन सेंड मी। सो what is he likely to think about me once he goes through my 12 TATs, 60 SRT, WAT and SD and all that thing? क्या लगता है आपको? लग रहा है कि उसको ऐसा लगेगा कि आपके अंदर पोटेंशियल है? चेक करो। नेक्स्ट इज, आर दे एनी एरिया वेर आई एम फाइंडिंग माई सेल्फ लैकिंग एंड नीड्स करेक्शन? इन सवालों को सुन के अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आपके अंदर देर आर एरियाज विच नीड्स टू बी करेक्टेड, please identify it and correct it. And if yes, and if you feel there are areas to correct, please tell me how do you intend correcting it. Because if you don't know how to correct it, then those deficiencies will continue, and if you don't change it, you will go with that deficiency in the SSB and it will affect your performance, and ultimately it will affect your result. 3.6 is the clearance. So once you understand all these steps and take care of these things, then your creation of the idea will get corrected. That is गंगोत्री में सफाई आएगी, और जब गंगोत्री में सफाई आएगी तो उससे निकलने वाली गंगा अपने आप ही साफ होना शुरू हो जाएगा, and your expression will start improving when your thinking improves. And the thinking improve से पहले you have to improve your observation, and once you improve your observation and improve your perception, improve your inner process, and take care of certain dimensions of you, you will realize कि आपकी गंगोत्री से निकलने वाली हर गंगा, भले वो कर्मणा हो, मानसा हो, वाचा हो, उसके अंदर नेचुरल कॉन्ग्रुएंस आना शुरू हो जाएगा। तो ज़रूर मुझे बताना कि इससे क्या समझ में आया, because if you understand this, you can definitely make major changes in the way you're preparing yourself for the SSB. And those of you who wish to join the full psychological test assessment online, you can contact me on 9090099035, and we will put you through the full psychological test and we'll put you through this kind of a process जहाँ पे इन सब चीज़ों को I will assist you in doing it, and it'll be absolutely interactive. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं आपको कुछ भी लाल लाल निशान लगा दूँगा. We will have one-to-one interaction and we'll see कहाँ कहाँ पे deficiency आ रहा है and fix that. इसके अलावा I already told you fresh batch starts on every Monday, offline batch at Pune, 2 weeks ka, and those who wish to register, this is the number on which you can WhatsApp me, and I'm sure you will benefit tremendously out of the interaction over the 2 weeks of offline classes at Pune. So I hope these videos are helping you. Do post your comment to this, and do subscribe this channel if you have not already done it, and kindly share this video with as many friends, because मेरे को 2000 भी व्यू नहीं मिलता, but I put a lot of efforts in making these videos. ये videos थोड़े सोचने में मजबूर करता है, but assure you they will give you 500% clarity in case if you're willing to accept that clarity. So do post your comment, do share it, and thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you very much.